Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here. Yeehaw, and Alcremie, that little gentleman right over there, is coming to Pokemon Unite very soon, and here's everything you need to know before it hits Eos Island. Alcremie is listed as a ranged special attack supporter with novice difficulty, evolving from Milcery at level 4 and getting your first move. Your basic attacks are just that, ranged basic attacks that deal some damage to your opponents. Your passive ability, however, Aroma Veil, when you buff an ally or grant a shield, any hindrances applied to that Pokemon are then removed, and then that move goes on cooldown. So it's like having the ability to cleanse status conditions with Natural Cure from Blissey, targeted on an ally, but then boom, you hit a cooldown. Your first two moves are Helping Hand, Charm. Then at level 4, you choose between Decorate and Recover. At level 6, Dazzling Gleam or Sweet Scent. And then finally, your Unite move at level 8. You get your plus moves at 10 and 12, making this a perfect Pokemon for EXP share. You don't need any more than level 12 to get your maximum value. Your first move, Helping Hand, will give a designated ally a shield, as well as increase that ally's attack and special attack briefly. You get a shield as well when you cast this. Your next move, Charm, deals damage to your opponents and slows them in front of you. It does not charm them and bring them back to you, but it does slow your opponents. It also decreases their attack and special attack. Pretty basic moves for your early move set. At level 4, you evolve. Gosh, this thing is so tiny, and you choose between Decorate or Recover. Decorate will give a shield not only to yourself, but to allies. This shield will increase the damage they do with their auto attacks. And once your kind of sweet cream gauge thing is full, the shield you give will increase their auto attack damage even further. I should talk about this gauge, by the way. This gauge will increase when you deal damage to your opponents or when you use your moves. Certain things can increase this gauge. As you can see here, it's full, and the icon for Decorate has changed. Now, these are temporary icons because we're in the public test server, but this will indicate that your move is upgraded and your full sort of sweet cream gauge is in effect. Boy, it's such a weird way to talk about that. Your next option is Recover, and this is where you will be throwing little dollops of whipped cream all over the map that can be picked up by yourself or can be picked up by allies. When they are picked up, your sweet gauge will increase, as you can see right here. If your sweet gauge is full, the dollop will heal for even more. You can see it actually looks a little different when it's on the ground. When it's full, come here, buddy. Right there. It also resets the cooldown of it immediately once your sweet gauge is full. The healing is pretty considerable, and it's nice that it increases their move speed, but someone has to pick it up. Enemies cannot pick up your dollops. I've always said that. I've always said that. Your first option for your second move at level 6 is Dazzling Gleam. This is going to cast out in front of you, kind of similar to the Dazzling Gleam you see on other Pokemon here, and it will briefly stun your opponents. Now, if you are using Decorate and you have a shield on an ally, you will both cast Dazzling Gleam in the direction you're casting, however, coming from those individual Pokemon. I think this moveset is incredibly cool, should be very, very fun. This will also increase your sweet gauge. Sweet Scent will deal damage to your opponents and also slow them in this area. It will, of course, also increase your sweet gauge, because why wouldn't it increase your sweet gauge? At level 10, you get the plus version of Recover, allowing you to keep an additional dollop. There's a small cooldown when you are throwing these, and again, you can get it reset depending on how high your sweet gauge is. You essentially kind of like get an empowered one, as you can see right there, while the gauge continues to tick up. But you get one more in reserve at level 10. And then at level 12, Sweet Scent Plus increases its slow, so your opponents will get slowed even more when you hit them with this move. At level 10, Decorate's shield effects are strengthened, and at level 12, Dazzling Gleam will do more damage to your opponents. Actually pretty considerable. At level 8, you unlock your Unite move, which will put you on top of a big old cake and heal all of your allies, kind of like a little bit at a time in this area. You'll throw little treats at your allies, and as you can see, you generate this big shield while you use it. You're going to be active for the duration of this move or until an enemy breaks that shield, which is why running something like Buddy Barrier might be very powerful in this Pokemon. Not only would you be giving an ally a nice barrier, but you will ensure that you get to use the full duration of your move. As you notice, you cannot use your eject button during this move, so once you place this, you are stuck in that position. And you'll notice as I use it right here, while you will heal your allies, you will not heal yourself. So you can still take damage and be KO'd in this moment. Here's an example of using it in game where you have allies around you. Alcremie will likely have the 2 movesets, whether it's Recover Sweet Scent or it's going to be Decorate Dazzling Gleam. They seem to work very, very well together, but you could see realities where you kind of switch up between them. One feels more healing focused, while the other a little more combat focused. The heals are pretty significant, right? Is it chunkier than Blissy's? Like, Blissy has like kind of a trail to it, right? Because soft boiled you'll heal, and then it has like 3 pops of an additional heal. I wonder if it's actually even bigger than just the Blissy's naturally. Oh my gosh, dude, yes. This is gonna be such a fun combination. Oh, look at the damage. As far as held items are concerned, until we know the exact scaling of this Pokemon, it will be hard to say whether or not something like a drive lens or a stacking item will be super ideal on this Pokemon, but you could safely run something like this, I think, and do very, very well. EXP sure, so you power up your ally and not have to worry about farming, because I don't think it's incredibly good on Alcremie, even though Dazzling Gleam and Sweet Scent do an okay amount of damage. Buddy Barrier to make sure that you do well when you are using your Unite move and your opponents don't break it. And then you have a Rescue Hood. This will just help with some of the shielding from not only Buddy Barrier, but also Decorate. If you're not running the Decorate build, you might not be running Rescue Hood, but of course it does affect the recovery effect. We're just gonna have to know the exact numbers between Wise Glasses, Recovery Hood, etc., etc. Usually this item is an okay, if not somewhat not ideal choice. Other held items to consider, something like Muscle Band may be a consideration because you will be using a lot of auto attacks with this Pokemon, and while the attack stat won't help you and the basic attack speed might not, the passive on it definitely could be a factor. You may end up stacking on this Pokemon. We're gonna have to find out its scaling, so that's hard to say if that's gonna be the case or not. Of course, you could also run something defensive like an Assault Vest or possibly where are you, buddy? Where's the Focus Band? I slid by it at some point, or something like an Assault Vest or a Focus Band. Always pretty good just to make sure that you don't go down in the thick of a big fight and you're there longer to fight with your team. I do think there's also a reality where you could be running something with Curse if you're able to attack fast enough and kind of mess with your opponents a lot. But I think most of Alcremie is going to be focused on sustaining your allies and making sure you're supporting them in fights. For emblems, I'm thinking you're going to want to run 6 green, 7 black on something like this. It's also possible that its HP might be important enough to run, 6 white on a build like this, but I'm thinking you're going to focus on the cooldowns, make sure that you have your moves up a lot, and also give you a little extra special attack. So there you go. Hopefully everything you need to know so you can dominate with Alcremie the moment it drops in Pokemon Unite. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening, and I will see you on the battlefield. Or I won't see you. I mean, I'll be there. Bye, everybody. Yeah.